On July 19, 2013, America witnessed a tragic and disastrous frozen death. 52-year-old Rosa Ayala-Gaona Esparza, a grandmother from Dallas, was visiting the Texas Six Flags amusement park with her daughter and son-in-law when she became a victim of the Texas Giants ride. She was violently thrown into the air and subjected to unbearable torture. I've been posting lots of interesting and informative videos about roller coaster disasters on my channel. If you're interested in learning more about this subject, please subscribe to my channel. The circumstances surrounding Rosa Esparza's death at Texas Six Flags were both horrible and enigmatic. Her body went missing until police arrived and park staff were unable to locate it. This story of her tragic death is so frightening that it will give you second thoughts about riding a roller coaster. At 6:40 p.m. on the fateful day, Rosa was subjected to a devastating and violent death by the Texas Giants roller coaster at the notorious Texas Six Flags amusement park in Arlington. Rosa Esparza was seated in the third row of the Texas Giant roller coaster when she was thrown out as the ride started its descent from the first large hill. The roller coaster is massive, lengthy, and surrounded by various attractions on both sides. It took some time to find her body, as no one witnessed where it landed. A police officer eventually found Rosa's body from an observation deck, and he was shocked by what he saw. Her partially dismembered body was gruesomely entwined around a support beam on the aluminum roof of the Honky Tonk Tunnel attraction, with blood and tissue spread over an 80-foot area. It was a scene straight from the underworld. Paramedics who arrived at the scene declared Rosa dead. The Texas Giants roller coaster is believed to have initiated its first descent and was turning the first corner at high speed when it claimed Rosa's life. The coaster debuted in 1990 as a wooden one and was refurbished and relaunched in April 2011 as a hybrid wooden and steel roller coaster. It is imposing and immense, stretching 1,500 meters in length, with its highest point reaching 150 feet, equivalent to a 14-story building. Rosa Esparza's story is haunting because she was subjected to intense suffering before being hurled into the air with great force. According to her daughter, who was riding in the car ahead with her husband, she looked back early in the ride to check on her mother and saw that the fans had flipped the car almost completely upside down, with Rosa's head pressed against the floor. Moments later, as the ride began its third ascent, Rosa's daughter witnessed her beloved mother being thrown into the air. Her heart stopped, and she started to scream. To make matters even worse, she had to endure the rest of the ride, not knowing her mother's fate. The moment the carriage stopped, she screamed in terror and tears streamed down her face. The daughter of Rosa Esparza, who had lost her life on the Texas Giants ride at Six Flags amusement park, reported to the ride operator that her mother was in distress, despite the fact that the operator was aware of the faulty condition of the car and the improper securing of Rosa. The ride was allowed to proceed. During the investigation, the Arlington police were shocked to learn of the operator's admission of his observation of the unfastened restraints on Rosa's thigh, but failing to take any action to rectify the situation. The investigation into the incident also revealed that Rosa's restraint was in a position that was low enough for the computer to register it as securely fastened, leading the ride operator to announce that it was safe to go. This irony was compounded by the fact that the police department had received an email just one day prior to the tragedy from a woman who reported having ridden in a car number 3 on the day before the fatal incident occurred. The woman in question recounted out the details of the events that took place prior to Rosa Esparza's death. She stated that after the roller coaster train had been loaded, the operator made an announcement over the loudspeaker that all was clear. But suddenly he looked down and made a check announcement for car 3. Then the employee who had previously checked the restraints came back to the car and double-checked them. The all-clear announcement was made a second later. According to a witness who was riding in the 4th row, Esparza's restraints were not properly latched. He added that when the roller coaster made its first large descent, He and his friend, who was sitting next to Esparza, saw her flip upside down with her feet in the air. Despite their efforts to help, they were unable to reach her. The investigating police officers and firefighters were deeply affected by the tragedy, and it took the firefighters an hour to remove Esparza's body from the roof of the honky-tonk tunnel. The sight was incredibly macabre, with Esparza's partially dismembered body half wrapped around a support beam and her top half hanging off the roof. Blood was scattered all around. The park reopened in September after implementing changes recommended by ride manufacturer Gerstlauer Amusement Rides, including new seatbelts and updated restraint bar covers. In October of that year, Six Flags Park claimed they were not accountable for Rosa Esparza's death, as they were not the designer or manufacturer of the Texas Giant ride. They downplayed the incident by stating that 2.5 million people had ridden the coaster before. This statement fueled public anger, as the investigation and witness accounts showed the company was aware of the faulty seat restraint in Car 3 before the accident, but failed to take action. The Six Flags amusement park was facing allegations of negligence in relation to the tragic death of Rosa Esparza. Despite the company's claims that the cause of her death was due to a mechanical failure, Esparza's family believed that the park was at fault and that it was operating a poorly maintained ride. The lawsuit filed by the family pointed out the lack of proper safety measures in the car, such as seatbelts or shoulder harnesses, and that the only restraint in place was a single lap or T-bar. This, they argued, was a clear indication of the park's negligence and their disregard for the safety of their riders. The lawsuit claimed that during the roller coaster's initial steep drop, Rosa's daughter heard screaming and yelling from behind her. She turned to see her mother being thrown from her seat and into the support beam as the car twisted through the turns, ultimately landing on the roof of the honky-tonk tunnel. The lawsuit filed by the family of Rosa Esparza stated that before her fatal fall, witnesses reported that she had expressed concern about the security of her harness. Despite her concerns, a park employee reassured her that as long as the belt harness clicked once, it was deemed secure. However, this was not the case for other riders, as their belts clicked more than once, indicating that they were definitely secure. Nevertheless, Rosa's belt only clicked once, but the employees still allowed her to stay on the ride. After Rosa's death, the roller coaster's manufacturer, Six Flags, and external experts conducted a 2-month internal investigation. According to insiders, the inspection revealed that various parts of the ride's security systems were experiencing increased distances and intermittent failures. The lawyers argued that if the park had conducted regular inspections, as they claimed, they would have discovered these inconsistencies and failures and fixed them, potentially saving Rosa's life. Additionally, Rosa's family had filed a lawsuit against Gerstlauer Amusement Rides, the company that manufactured the cars for the Texas Giant. In November 2014, Six Flags and Gerstlauer Amusement Rides of Germany reached a confidential settlement with the family of Rosa Esparza.